While the Dragon Duke is the strongest hero, most people have him under upgrade. So these are the best attack strategies you can use without the Dragon Duke at every Town Hall level to 3-star any base. Kicking us off at Town Hall 15, we see the Super Witch Smash. This is very powerful, especially as the Dragon Duke isn't nearly as strong as at higher Town Hall levels. We're going to mainly start off with the Grand Warden Walk. We want to use this in order to clear out a fairly large area outside the base to create a bit of pathing. On this base in particular, we're using the Warden with the 2 furnaces to provide a little bit of funneling support to speed up his walk as he gets closer to the target point. Since the spell tower is right behind the town hall, we want to target the spell tower to remove both that and the CC while damaging the town hall and clearing out the invisibility spell tower. So we want to just be very patient with this. This should last no more than a minute because you need to make sure that you are getting into your Super Witch portion. But for the most part, you can then start to use your invisibility spells alongside having a ice block to freeze the warden in place. Then you could use your invisibility spells all around and allow your fireball to get in with 2 earthquake spells to clear a large area, including removing the CC. This way your warden can deal with the town hall while the archer queen funnels on the other side, mostly with her action figure and her magic mirror to set up that funnel. This way you have the barbarian king and the super witches going inside the core of the base. The idea here is that you have a really nice funnel set, and with the archer queen you can very easily do that, and with the barbarian king he's both tanking and going to open walls later on. We've got balloons to scout out for seeking air mines as we continue to dive deeper in. We're going to use a rage spell to power up our super witches in the core of the base, and as we get closer towards the back end, we do want to make sure that we are just being very patient. The troop launcher is providing additional troops like the super yetis and balloons alongside wall breakers themselves. This way we can use the barbarian king's earthquake boots and spiky ball as they open up more of the base. The overgrowth is used to minimize damage and control a bit of pathing. So that way when it expires, the royal champion on the back end can be used to clear out the rest of the defenses. Obviously in this case, we really didn't need the royal champion. We could have easily swagged her, or if you're upgrading her as well, you can honestly do that too. But for the most part, this attack is extremely strong and simple. If you notice, we're doing these attacks in Legends mode, so you will be able to do this in normal mode as well. Moving along to Town Hall 16, we see the Fireball Throwers. This is still a very powerful strategy and doesn't necessarily need the Duke to have any sort of success. You do want to start this off though by using the Grand Warden Walk. In this case, we are doing a very similar start to the Super Witches, where we're using the 2 furnaces in addition to the Warden to provide a bit of support. Obviously in this case, I forget to place in my furnaces early on, but that is a way for you to quickly speed through. Now in this case, you can use storages like the gold storage here as an anchor point for you to send the fireball in. It prevents the warden from moving, so you can target something like a rage spell tower and clear it with 2 earthquake spells. This allows you to set up really good funneling, especially as you're getting value on something like the Eagle Artillery or even the rage spell tower. Other than that, you do want to make sure that you're luring the warden over with your throwers and you're using root riders to open the wall. Now for the barbarian king, you're not using him inside the base to provide support for your throwers. You're using him on the outside of the base with the snake bracelet and spiky ball. You have a druid there to provide additional healing for both your barbarian king and for the frosty since the healing bounces. You've also got the royal champion to provide support for the throwers as they work in by controlling the pathing of them, especially if there's defenses nearby. Otherwise, the root riders and everything are going to be able to work themselves into the core of the base, opening walls for your throwers so they can move into or towards the back end. You've got other spells as well, like the free spells that can minimize damage against things like the monolith or something like that. And you've got totem spells that you can use throughout in order to distract defenses and allow your troops to very simply move through. You've also got the royal champion with her rocket spear that can help clear out large areas of the base, making it a lot easier for your throwers to get through. But outside of those things, as long as you have a bulk of your throwers alive, you should be able to 3-star most of the time with this army. Now for Town Hall 17, we have the Dragon Rider Totem strategy. This is very powerful and doesn't necessarily need the Dragon Duke to set up funneling. This is going to go to the Royal Champion. With her Rocket Spear and Seeking Shield, you can very easily clear out buildings and defenses. Just make sure that you have a few troops behind her in order to help clear out trash buildings. Otherwise, you're going to use the Queen and Siege Barrack on the other side of your funnel. Try to get at least one or two air defenses and any sweepers if you can. Otherwise, you just want to make sure that with a funnel set, you can use your Dragon Riders, your Inferno Dragons, the Warden, and the Prince as they work in. You can use spells like Freeze to minimize damage, but you'll mainly use Totem spells to distract defenses as you work around. You've also got an early Eternal Tome and Healing Tome to keep everything alive as they work towards the core, where you have an Overgrowth spell. This controls pathing and minimizes damage, such as against 2 Rage spell towers. You can very easily use that to mitigate a lot of the damage. Free spells can also kind of do the same thing, but you do have to be a little bit more time efficient with your spells. Otherwise, you just want to make sure that you use the Dark Orb from the Minion Prince in order to keep everything alive as they kind of work a little bit deeper into the base. But for the most part, with that slow, you really should be able to use your Totem spells to minimize a lot of the damage on your troops and easily clear all of the remaining defenses with your Dragon Riders and your Inferno Dragons to help deal with any enemy heroes, and you should be good for 3 stars no matter what. And for Tunnel 18, we see a Mass Electro Dragon. This is still a very powerful and simple strategy to use, where you want to start off in funneling. You're going to use a few E-Drags on one side of the base in order to help clear it out, and the Archer Queen is going to be used on the other side with her Giant Arrow and Action Figure, along with the Siege Barrack. You can use rocket balloons to snipe down air defenses, especially with the few lone E-Drags, before you spam in the rest of your E-Drags alongside the Grand Warden and Minion Prince. As you work into the base, you should use an early Rage alongside the Minion Prince ability or the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome. You can use them both like fairly close to each other, but you want to mainly try to protect everything as you push into the core. You can use free spells to stop splash damage defenses or annoying defenses like the Sweeper, and otherwise you can use another Rage in the core of the base. You also have the Barbarian King. Instead of using a back-end Dragon Duke, you're using a back-end Barbarian King if he has the Stick Horse. And with the Angry Jelly, you basically turn him into a ground equivalent of the Dragon Duke, where he's able to provide a ton of power with his movement and attack speed increases from the Stick Horse, making it a very valuable option on the back end of the base. Otherwise, even if you lose most of your E-Drags, you should be fine, as they should be able to clear through a large section of the base. Just make sure that you have enough troops for cleanup, in the sense of maybe things like the Siege Barrack troops, or any E-Drags that still remain alive, or even your CC troops. But this will allow you to get a 3-star no matter what at Tunnel 18. Now hopefully each army helps you earn 3 stars even if you have the Dragon Duke under upgrade, no matter your Tunnel level. But here is a recommended video YouTube thinks you'll like on screen, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.